Okay. It looks like we are live. So let's go ahead and switch over. All right. Excellent. Well, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Jason Levine. Thank you so much for joining me today on Twitter, Periscope, Facebook, Behance, and YouTube. Great to see you. And for today's brief live streaming topic, we're going to be talking about something that I covered not so long ago. I'm going to revisit it here using automatic speech alignment for synchronizing ADR, so replaced dialogue when you've captured sound natively or externally. Additionally, though, I've had a lot of questions since that last broadcast about, well, what if I have a dubbed soundtrack? What if I'm working on something that I'm reversioning in German or Spanish or French or whatever, and I have the dubbed ADR in French, and I need to align that with the original English dialogue or whatever it is. What's the best way to do that? So I'm going to showcase to you a feature in Audition called clip time stretching, which is real time. It's totally non-destructive. You do it by dragging handles right in the multi-track. And it's one of those things that if you've never stumbled upon it, you're probably just not aware that it even exists. So if this is something you're thinking about doing, it's super easy. It's awesome. And I'm going to show you quickly how to do it. Of course, you can finesse the process in many, many different ways and really kind of get something that, that works really, really well. All right. So as always, just a couple of quick shouts to all of our various chat clients here, none of which are all in one window, so I'm looking across multiple systems. Marco Lopez, hello. Max Basovsky, what is happening? Peter Whiter. Oh, thanks. Yes, that's my, when we go live on Behance, there's no preview, so I needed to create a new angle just for the getting ready stage, so that's why you saw that. I'll be changing that around too. Beaufort Williams, how are you? Guten Abend, Max. All right, let's see who we've got over on YouTube. Aha! Hassam Jama, great to see you. CL Karain Brisa, nice to see you. Ivan Figueroa from Glendale, what's up? EDMC, hey. Good to see you, my friend. It has been a while. Yesterday was the first stream back in a long time, so feels great. Post Max, Super Tofu, Dev Cycle, Pure Gersing, nice to see you all. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's switch over. All right. Joe, how's it going, my good friend? Terry, Marco, Navid, Benjamin. All right. Marco in Serbia. Very nice. Love you too, Navid. Okay. So let's go ahead and switch over to Audition. Oh, and here I'm just going to minimize this. And we should be in business. Okay. Fantastic. All right. And I'm sure many of you will have questions, so I'll try and take those sort of midway before we get to the dubbed version. But first, let's showcase automatic alignment. Yes. Hey, buddy, what's up? Ustangor, we met in Istanbul. Yes, I remember you. I remember your avatar. It's great to see you. Okay, so this is content I've shown many, many times in an interview that I cut with my good friend and sometimes collaborator, Fuzzy Island. And this was an interview that we shot in New York, and it already has secondary sound. So you can see the camera audio here, which was captured on the D800. It's very low amplitude, so you're not seeing a lot of it. You can kind of barely see the waveforms there. But the camera audio, of course, was noisy. It's picking up all the air conditioning and just ambient noise. You typically don't use it. It's just for reference, because I was also having Fuzzy speak directly into an iPhone, which I use very frequently for secondary sound. Can't emphasize that enough. A lot of people love to use, the Zoom devices. I mean, you have many, many options out there, but this one is actually one of my favorites. So let's go ahead and take a quick listen to just what the original audio here sounds like real quickly. All right.
My name is Fuzzy Island, and I play music, I write music, write stories, tell stories. I guess I'm just an old storyteller, guitar player, singer-songwriter, I suppose.
Now, just looking over at the chat here, or rather at my output of the stream, I'm guessing that's pretty low amplitude. So let me just pump that up for you purely for the broadcast. All right, so I'm not trying to necessarily change the sound, just amplifying it for you so you can hear it better. I'm also going to turn my sound down here. All right, just keep playing.
I think it's very cool. The one thing I miss about my younger days when I was living in Tennessee and folks didn't have money, but everybody seemed to live in it.
Okay, better, I'm assuming. If you want to chime in the chat, please feel free. All right. Oh, wow. So many more chatters. Chatters? So many more people chatting on Facebook. Great to see you. Dismaz from Tanzania. Zachariah from Indianapolis. Nuno, Fernando. Jibon Raj. Mohammed. Neto. Shuva Brata. Moran Al Haiba watching from Morocco. Samuel Rich. All right. Javier. Demith. Costel. All right. Nice to see you all. Mohammed Damit. Okay. All right. So was that better? Could you hear that a little bit better now that I amplified it? Evil Cerise, what is up? That's right. Throw a little for my life. What's happening? Okay. All right. Just checking all these. Okay. Okay. So hopefully you can hear that a little bit better. So let me go ahead and wind this back. And just real quickly, let's go into the media browser. Now, in the media browser, I have an ADR track where I revoiced Fuzzy. So this would be like if he were doing his own dialogue replacement, but I did it in my voice to show you this super cool automatic alignment process called automatic speech alignment. So I'm going to grab ADR. I'm going to drop it into our files panel here. All right. And then what I'm going to do is let's go ahead and drag it into, oh, did I not move that in there? Actually, I can just make a new track for it. Is this stereo or mono? It's mono. Okay. So let me go ahead and make a mono track here. All right. Make a mono audio track right there. Let's take this ADR and stick it right about there. Okay. All right. So we're going to focus on this, just this one section for right now. So if we take a listen, and here, just so you're not distracted by the visual, let me just solo these so you can see that I tried to voice this pretty accurately. I mean, that's the idea with ADR, is you're watching time code, you might have a cue sheet, you're trying to get it in time, but maybe you just don't hit it. So take a listen to Fuzzy and me together. I may need to adjust the relative levels here. And you'll hear that it's close, but not perfect by any stretch.
My name's Fuzzy Island, and I play music, I write stories, tell stories. I guess I'm just an old storyteller, guitar player, singer-songwriter, I suppose.
Okay. So first of all, you can just see that, waveform-wise, it's close, but obviously, particularly in this section, I started a little early. Then I kind of caught up ever so slightly. Then I was late on this one here. So you can hear they're not perfectly aligned. Okay. So how do we fix that? So here's what we do. So we're going to select these two clips right here. And we're going to go up to the clip menu, and we're going to choose automatic speech alignment. All right? Just like this. And when I do that, it's really simple. First of all, it says, what is the reference? So this would be the master clip that you're trying to align to. In this case, it's 2878 fuzzy audio, which is that master. And again, this is the secondary audio that I captured via the iPhone. In fact, I think I even have, I've got the track labeled iPhone because that's what I wanted to do. Okay. Reference channel left to right. This happens to be, it's dual channel mono. It's the same program in both left and right. So I just left it as is. Okay. The unaligned is ADR 01, which is the one that we just added. And then you have three options. Okay. Tight alignment, tightest alignment, balanced alignment and stretching, smoothest stretching. Each of these will give potentially a slightly different result based on how close your original ADR was. What's the best one to choose? You have to audition them just to try them out. I can't tell you, I've done this a gazillion times. Sometimes one works better than the other. The one that is the default, which is balanced alignment and stretching, tends to get it most of the time. but you may need to play around a little bit. So let's try the default. It also processes very quickly. There's also a checkbox here, which you may have noticed. Reference clip is noisy. Because again, a lot of times, that reference clip, it might be the camera audio, right? So the camera audio, especially if you're outdoors, there could be wind, there could be just ambient sound that's kind of getting in the way. So by checking that box, the algorithm works a little bit differently to really account for those outside sonic anomalies and avoids them to really focus on aligning the transients of the dialogue itself, okay? In this case, it's recorded inside. It's not noisy. We don't have to worry about it. And then it's going to add the aligned clip to a new track. Let's go ahead and click OK. It does its thing. And that quickly, it's already built a new one for us. And you can see here, we've got the others two soloed. So let's now go ahead and solo my version right here, this aligned version. Let's bring back the video and let's take a look and see what we got. Oh, hold on. I'm going to wind it back so we can have the music as well. Let's mute those originals.
Name's Fuzzy Island, and I play music, I write music, I write stories, tell stories.
All right, here, I'm going to go full screen so that you can see it. It looks pretty awesome.
Name's Fuzzy Island, and I play music, I write music, I write stories, tell stories. I guess I'm just an old storyteller, guitar player, singer-songwriter, I suppose.
Okay, and just for reference, let's go ahead and turn on my original, the pre-aligned version, just so you can hear that it's not very close. Here's the original.
Name's Fuzzy Island, and I play music, I write music, I write stories, tell stories.
Hold on, wait a minute, did I just do that? Yes, okay, good.
Stories. I guess I'm just an old...
Yeah, so right there, I didn't even catch...
such a mistake.
I didn't even catch the beginning of that. Watch.
I guess I'm just an old storyteller, guitar player, singer-songwriter, I suppose. Yeah.
Okay. Pretty off, right? Go back to the new one again. I won't go full screen just so we can keep it all here.
Name's Fuzzy Island, and I play music, I write music, I write stories, tell stories. I guess I'm just an old storyteller, guitar player, singer-songwriter, I suppose.
Okay. Super. That's weird, but absolutely awesome. Yes, Pierre. It's weird for me, too, to see my voice on Fuzzy. Now, of course, if I were trying to make this real, I would add back in some of the ambient environment of the room. Obviously, mine is done on this mic right here, so it's too dry. It's too studio. We want to re-simulate, the environment if we were actually doing this. Okay, so that's automatic speech alignment. That's how it works. Now, if we wanted to come in here and, again, further finesse some of those things, we can do that. Of course, you can rerun the process again with one of the other options. You get the idea. But what if you're now trying to take that same dialogue and instead of using an English dub, you have it done in another language, right? So this is really common. Reversioning for other regions, for other countries. They're going to dub in their own dialogue, and it just needs to kind of line up. Now, the question I get asked all the time is, can you use automatic speech alignment to align, say, a French soundtrack with an English one? Well, the truth is you could try, but it's probably not going to work very well because, of course, the attack transients, the consonants, all of the things that it's scanning to find similarity, they're different, right? So you can't really use, I got to think of an acronym for that, automatic speech, ASA, automatic speech alignment, if you're reversioning in a different language. That's just not going to cut it. So there's a different way, and it's called clip time stretching. So I'm going to show you that right now. Let me just go back to the chat and see if there's any quick questions before we move on. All right. What's up, Sneaker? Lucifer, thumbs up. Okay, that's good. Good. Frozone, what's happening? DFC 3000. Okay, Mark Schmidt. All right, checking back over here. Andrea, great, yes. Lindley from Canada's West Coast. Okay, Faraz. Okay, we're coming to it. Okay, Olafemi, Nigeria. Zachariah, how are you? Okay. Tome. Boy Tricky from Zimbabwe. Mix from Indonesia. Lloyd from Burundi. Wow, Amazing. Brian England, I use Wirecast. All right. Peter Torres in Fort Lauderdale. All right. Okay, sweet. So let's do this now. We've got our aligned one. Let's go ahead and mute that. Let's bring back the original fuzzy audio again, and I'm going to once again create a new track. And this is also in mono, I believe. So a couple weeks ago, I did a presentation out in San Francisco for SF Cutters. So one of the big groups out in the Bay Area that cater to all genres of filmmaking and editing and sound design, and they just have an incredible array of members from in all different sort of facets of production and post. And I kind of showed this there, and it went over really well. And again, a lot of people have been asking about this, so I thought it would be cool to do that. So in any case, I took it upon myself as a former French speaker, former being the key word there, to attempt to redo this same thing en français. Now, as I just mentioned, in French or any other language, I couldn't use speech alignment because it's not going to work, right? And when you look at different languages, like if you go into, say, Japanese or Turkish or something like that, a lot of times the phrases themselves could be longer or shorter. So to say the same thing, hi, my name is Fuzzy Island, hi, my name is Fuzzy Island, 6 words in English, it might be 3 words in another language, or it could be 15, right? So really what we need to be able to do is to kind of squeeze or compress or stretch the dub to fit the basic space, just so that when he's talking, the dub is playing, right? And that's kind of the best you can ask for. Sometimes it's like amazingly right on, spot on, perfect. Other times, just to kind of get it to fill the space is what you want to do. Again, you have the freedom here to do whatever you want. I'm just going to show you how it works with clip time stretching. So the first thing you need to be aware of is you need to be able to turn this function on, all right? And clip time stretching for real-time non-destructive functionality in the multitrack is this little clock icon with the left and right arrow up here at the top left-hand corner of your multitrack header. So you want to enable that. It'll be enabled when it's blue, okay? And when that happens, what you will now see is you get these little handles at the top left and top right of your audio clips. And you can see there it says stretch, so you have a little tooltip. Now, again, if we're talking about reversioning, probably our best bet is going to be to first kind of cut up all of the pieces of dialogue, right? So let's take a listen quickly here. This is, again, this is me in my French accent. Let's take a quick listen.
Je m'appelle Fuzzy Island.
Okay, so let's go ahead and cut right there.
Je joue de la musique. J'écris de la musique.
All right, and we're gonna cut these up and make them a little tight. I'll get rid of that, some of that dead space right there.
J'écris des histoires, raconte des histoires.
All right, so we're gonna razor that right there. Okay.
Je suppose que je suis un vieux conteur, guitariste, auteur, compositeur, interprète.
Yeah. So like that right there, auteur, compositeur, interprète. I mean, that's me using my, 11th grade non-conversational French abilities to say singer-songwriter. Probably a better way to do that. And it's much longer, right? So in any case, though, something like this whole passage, maybe I'd cut this up into 2 or 3 sections. So maybe we'll razor this right about here and there and there. And we'll just get rid of, again, some of these little bits right here. Okay. So the first thing we want to tackle is the very beginning where he says,
name's Fuzzy Island, and
all right. And my French equivalent of that is,
Je m'appelle Fuzzy Island.
Now I kind of went a little bit long on the so that's kind of on me. Now for the smoothest stretch, I might want to either cut that or kind of destructively alter that. But you'll get what I'm going to do here in just a second. All right. Now this little blue dotted line that you're seeing, this is something that we added about a year ago in Audition. And if I just quickly go into our preferences under video. This is called, it's for clip spotting. So spot video frame when adjusting audio clip. So this is really ideal for when you're aligning things and you're aligning sound design to visuals on screen. Because I have the audio waveform here, that's really my gauge for what I'm trying to do. So it's not as critical, but you get the idea. You kind of can understand what it's doing. So as mentioned, this is the phrase that we need to cover. Now, it needs to be approximately that long. So I'm going to take the stretch handle, and I'm simply going to drag it right about here, maybe even elongate it just a little bit, okay? And now what that's done is it's compressed the time, keeping the pitch the same. Now, it might be a little fast because of my, it was a little too long, a little too legato, but let's take a quick listen. I'm going to play both of them together now.
Je m'appelle Fuzzy Island.
All right, so now let's wind it back.
Je m'appelle Fuzzy Island.
Oh my gosh. Look at this. It works.
Je m'appelle Fuzzy Island. Je m'appelle Fuzzy Island.
It even looks, I mean, the Fuzzy Island is almost exactly where he's saying it. Just by chance.
Je m'appelle Fuzzy Island.
Okay? You get the idea. So let's keep going, all right? So what's next? We have this.
I play music or write music.
Now, what did I do in the French version here? I didn't say like je.
Je joue de la musique, j'écris de la musique.
Okay. And what is he saying here?
I play music or write story.
Okay. So for this, again, I didn't say that like I, but we know that it needs to fill
I play music or write music.
this much space, okay? So once again, I'm going to take this, I'm going to shrink it right about here. Okay, now the next part is...
Write stories, tell stories.
All right, stories, tell stories, which should be here.
J'écris des histoires, raconte des histoires.
Okay, so I'm going to line this again, shrink this up a little bit. All right, zoom in.
Raconte des histoires.
Okay, so let's take a look. Pierre, my French is good. Oh, thank you. I'm, you know, I used to be fluent years ago. In fact, my very first Adobe presentations at our French offices, my colleague Denis Pierre can verify, I actually did a large portion of them in French and then used to give interviews in French. And then I just stopped using it for a number of years and it fades away. So it's still in there. And if I'm immersed in it for like a week, you know, I can understand like 80%, but I'll be honest with you, I am very intimidated to speak it. So I don't really do that anymore. But I used to be, I was good. All right, let's take a listen. Let's look at this.
Je joue de la musique, j'écris de la musique, j'écris des histoires, raconte des histoires.
Okay. Now, again, it's not perfectly aligned on the lips here because there's some weird pauses that I didn't quite adhere to. But it's filling all the space, and particularly at the end here where he looks up. Watch this. Watch this section right here.
Raconte des histoires. Raconte des histoires. Raconte des histoires.
It kind of works, right? I mean, like, it just did it. And it's just because I'm visually aligning all of this, all right? So now our last part here, this one's a little tricky.
I guess I'm just an old storyteller, guitar player.
Okay. So once again, let's see what we got here. See where we are. So we might have to cut these pieces, all right?
Je suis un vieux conteur, guitariste.
Guitar player.
Okay. So yeah, so we're going to cut this right here. We're going to move this. All right.
Guitar player.
It's guitariste right here. Notice the crossfades there. Not really going to use those. What's at the beginning of this French thing here?
Je suppose que je suis un vieux conteur, guitariste.
Okay. Not bad. So we have about that. And again, I have this like pause in
Je
there.
suppose que je suis un vieux conteur.
I just don't want to stretch it too much.
Je suppose que je suis un vieux conteur, guitariste.
All right. Actually seemed a little better the other way. And maybe, you know, again, maybe I want to cut out this little dead space right here instead of stretching everything. You know, sometimes you just have to play around a little bit because too much stretching, even though it's not affecting pitch, you don't want it to sound so fast that you can't understand it. You don't want it to sound like it's just rambling through everything. So, you know, you can take some license here. It starts a little early. So again, that's something that we could improve upon perhaps. Let's take a look and just kind of see what this little bit looks like. Oh, and here, this end bit here.
Singer-songwriter, I suppose. Yeah.
And this one again, singer-songwriter, and my bad translation of that is not going to work entirely, but I think it'll be okay. So let's take a listen.
Je suppose que je suis un vieux conteur, guitariste, auteur, compositeur, interprète. Je suppose.
Okay, let's watch the whole thing. That was pretty fast. It's short. We only did 20 seconds, but let's take a look.
Je m'appelle Fuzzy Island. Je joue de la musique, j'écris de la musique, j'écris des histoires, raconte des histoires. Je suppose que je suis un vieux conteur, guitariste, auteur, compositeur, interprète. Je suppose.
I mean, it ain't bad, right? It's pretty good. Now, again, we did this quickly. It's all non-destructive. You have options too, by the way. So if we go into the Properties panel, under Stretch, this allows you to control some of the various options that you have. Now, for doing dialogue like this, notice I kept it all in real time. It functions really well. It's going to sound, frankly, really good. If you want a slightly higher quality playback, you can go into rendered. If you feel like sonically it's degrading as you're stretching, switch to rendered. Typically, I'll do all the work in real time, and if I feel like I'm trading off clarity, I'll go into rendered before I actually mix it down or do the final render. But for dialogue, it works pretty well. And part of that is because we're dealing with a monophonic source, okay? Monophonic, one voice, one sound. This is crucial. That's the default method, by the way. Again, if we were talking music and stretching music, obviously you'd be polyphonic. Vari-speed does exactly what the classic tape machines would do. If you're stretching to make something faster, it's going to speed it up, which increases the pitch. If you're slowing something down, it's going to lower the pitch. So for something like ADR dubbing, you do not want to use vari-speed. No. There's other times where you might for effect, but if you're trying to keep everything in the pitch of the person speaking, you want it to be in monophonic, okay? And then again, you have some other options, so you can even repitch it after the fact. So, like I've seen some dubs. I watch a ton of Bollywood films, and from the 60s and 70s, and I've seen some of them where you could just tell that some of the voices for various characters must have been replaced, and maybe they weren't replaced by the actual actor. Like it could have been just an extra, you know, who had a line and they redubbed it with someone else's voice. And, you know, maybe the voice it's too big or too gravelly for what it is. So this kind of allows you additional ways to just modify it a little bit and give it a little bit of unique flavor to the dub, okay? And that's basically it. You've got your stretch options here. You have your handles at the upper left inside of your clips. Cut them to kind of visually align it first to get things in position, and then use those stretching handles to fill the space of your dialogue. Now, something else that you can do, if it's easier for you, and this is something that I like to implement when doing this kind of workflow, if you go ahead and make marker regions, all right, in the editing view. Now you can do this in the multi-track as well, but this is something that you could even do on your ADR in advance. I don't know if this is going to translate over right now. Oh, it did. Okay. What you see here is that you see those markers inside the multi-track. So it just gives you a slightly better visual in terms of alignment, okay? And by the way, if you're not seeing those, you have to enable this little box right here in the markers panel, which is show markers of all files. Okay, if that's not enabled, you may not see them. Okay. Okay, and that, I think, my friends, is it. So let's go ahead. We're going to hop back to the chat real briefly. See if we've got any more questions, and if not, I'm going to send you on your way. All right. All right, thank you. Stephanie Reed, got a haircut today. Awesome, and great to see you. Paolo from Portsmouth. Tun, you love the way I pronounce. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing it correctly, and I'm assuming you're either from, maybe you're from the Netherlands or from Belgium, and I used to live there in the Netherlands, and I feel bad for pronouncing it incorrectly, so I apologize. Faraz. All right, Mohammed Safras, okay. Abdul, thank you. Okay. You're very nice. TV, that's my new nickname for you. All right, over on the tubes. Wesley Jones, pretty sweet. Alexei, wow, hello. Okay, EDMC, can you do this for musical recorded vocals, for harmonizing or dubbing purpose? So here's the thing. Yes, you can. So while that is not what this was designed for, if you're timing, so that's the key. If the timing is pretty good and they're singing the same kind of things, you can use this for harmony alignment. I've done it successfully. I've also had it where it just doesn't quite work. So, but yes, in theory, because just like with ADR, right? If you're singing in time, you're singing against a lead or something. Those attack transients, whatever, the chorus or the verse is, they'll be the same, albeit in a different pitch. So yes, you can totally use this for that. Like I said, I've had some success doing it. Where it doesn't necessarily work is, let's say you did a different like a lead vocal, and you phrased things very differently. Well, what it's going to do is it's going to look at that original, and then it's going to try and stretch those rephrased versions to the original, which will give you probably a weird sort of result. So there's some limitations there. Again, that wasn't necessarily the design for this, but I've done it myself with background vocals, and it can work really well. And it can align them just like so perfectly that it seems like a machine, which sometimes is super cool. All right. Oh, TV. Yes, of course you live in the Netherlands. Yes, awesome. Hola, Paulina. Very nice to see you back from Max. Little story here, Paulina. We've known each other on live streams and Twitter for years. Myself and Rufus Deutschler, my colleague Rufus, we've known her forever. Met for the first time in person this year at Adobe Max. So cool. So after like a decade, so super, super cool. Stuart Clark, we're in the Netherlands. I lived right in Amsterdam, right in Central, and it was awesome. Had a place there for about 5 years, and it was lovely. So, okay. Well, that appears to be all the questions we have. All right. Sam Hauser, how are you? Mio Decade, all right. Sir Dibs, Cent, Timo Ovaska, very nice to see you all. All right. Well, everyone, thanks so much for joining me. Again, you'll be able to watch the replay here on Facebook. Oh, and I haven't checked the Behance chat. Oh my God, there's all sorts of stuff going on in Behance. Pierre Etienne, do you recommend to leave some ambience from the original source between the talks? Yes, definitely. That's a great question. So yeah, I mean, again, I'm cutting out the holes. So this voiceover as it is was studio done. It's so dry. So yes, I would add back in a whole track of room tone, and then of course equalize this to also fit the original, just so that it sounds like it's in the correct environment. But yes, super, super cool. All right. Kev Monahan, what's up? Anissa, great to see you again. Apologies for not checking back over to Behance. I forgot that I was streaming there. He says very honestly. All right, everyone. Thank you again for watching. You'll be able to catch the replays on all the various networks. See you again tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be... I'm not exactly sure. And I did want to talk about this. I'm probably going to play it tomorrow. Some of you may remember we did a stream A while back, I showcased something in Character Animator, which my good colleague, Paul Burnett, which is this guy right here, created a music video in Character Animator with a song that we did for this fake brand called Mad Coffee. And the song that I wrote was called Mad Coffee and Avo Toast. Well, Paul, and it was supposed to have been done like in the 60s. Well, Paul went ahead and actually pressed a record. So this is actual vinyl here. It's like the unboxing. All right. Actually pressed a record of Mad Coffee and Avo Toast. How freaking cool is that? So I'm going to play that live on the stream tomorrow. This is the album cover. Or the single cover, I should say. It's supposed to be a 45. That's me, by the way, in that on the upper corner there. That's enough time on that. Okay. All right, everyone. Well, again, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And we'll see you again next time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.